Hello and welcome to another update video on Bitcoin. So weekend is starting. Let's talk about the parameters here on the larger time frame that you know about if you follow our main channel, MCO Global, where we also cover the bigger picture from time to time. Just wanted to make everybody aware who might only be following the More Crypto Online channel, what the key levels are going forward on a larger time frame, larger scale. So it's important to recognize that Bitcoin here on the weekly time frame is currently holding the 55-week EMA, that exponential moving average we talked about in yesterday's MCO Global video. I talked about in detail why there is so much fighting between the bulls and the bears in this region. So check it out if you're interested. But yeah, basically this is important. It's currently at 99K, an important support. The 21-week EMA got broken, but it's not so important. It's not a very strong EMA, exponential moving average. It got broken several times also in this bull cycle. But the 55, which is highlighted here in white, has held throughout the cycle since September 23. So once we broke above it, that was it, and we continued to stay in a bullish market. In previous cycles as well, we had a confirmation that a larger correction or bear market is unfolding as soon as we had 2 weekly breaks below the 55-week EMA. So what happens if we break below it? Now, it's not necessarily a full bear market signal, but for me, it is a line in the sand. I mean, below it, probabilities shift towards a more substantial top being in place. However, it would need to be a decisive break, at least 2 weekly closes. In addition to that, for more precision, we are using, because the 55-week is it's a dynamic support level. For more precision, we use our Fibonacci levels and Elliott Wave analysis, of course. This here is in the end quite simplified. But if we break below the 55-week EMA, because some of you asked, the 89-week EMA is next. Before if you're wondering, these exponential moving averages are based on Fibonacci numbers. So they often are bit more accurate, bit more precise, and it works, right? So the 55-week got tested perfectly here, perfectly. So the next one, as I said, is the 89-week. That's around 88K at the moment. In addition to that, what we need to be aware of is on the weekly chart, we have a stochastic RSI oversold. So in previous, let's say, corrections in this cycle, which were sometimes even larger. I mean, we had corrections of around 32%, 33% compared to where we are now, around 22, I think. So we had already larger corrections. Whenever that happens in this cycle, at least 6 times, I would say, when the stochastic RSI on the weekly was oversold, it was typically an area where lows formed. So I'm just saying the weekly RSI, while it is not a guarantee for a reversal to the upside, together with a 55-week EMA and the 100K psychological support level, it would support some kind of an upside bounce. But it's it's not an absolute bottoming signal. But it's something to be aware of. At the same time, the monthly chart shows exhaustion on the MACD, the MACD. And if we get a bearish cross, in the past, a bearish cross on the monthly usually was a bear market signal. And what I find quite, not funny, but it's interesting because the bearish cross on the MACD goes kind of hand in hand with a break below the 55-week exponential moving average. So that's why this is for me a line in the sand. So it's like there's a lot of uncertainty, right? But don't get confused by these signals, because the monthly MACD, it is the monthly time frame. It shows the long-term trend is getting exhausted. Whereas on the weekly chart, this is more short-term. The stochastic RSI is moving quite wildly. And so it's a much more of a short-term signal than the monthly MACD. So while the weekly might allow for another bounce, and maybe the weekly stochastic RSI might even allow for another rally to all-time highs, we'll see. the monthly MACD indicates at the moment that the trend is getting exhausted. Now, the monthly MACD is super lagging, like it's a super lagging indicator. But still, it's something we should not ignore. Weekly RSI as such, still showing downside momentum increasing. So I think it's a time to be cautious. I remain carefully optimistic. As I said before, I'm not overall bearish yet, but that might change if we get a decisive break below the 55-week EMA. For now, I'm not bearish. I know a lot of people have called for the bear market to have started already, but they did that already here in April, and they did that already in August. I remember it. Yeah, it's always the same. Okay, so just want to give you an idea. In case you want to find out more, check out our MCO Global YouTube channel as well. Some of you might not know it exists. You will find it linked at the end of this video. If we then look at the daily chart, I mean, not too much happened here, but I wanted to address a question from one of our members. Question was about the daily chart here, and if this wave 4 needs another low, and the answer is clearly no, it doesn't need another low. It could get one, but in the white count, which is this wave 4, I mean, if I label this as a WXY, and the Y wave itself is some kind of a WXY exotic pattern, we could form a low at any point, but this is a very irregular bottom that would be. I consider it because the 100K level is such a strong support. Yeah. But we would need a break above both resistance areas to suggest that we've actually bottomed. That means I need a break above 105K. It's a nice first signal, but really for a more meaningful bottoming signal and to really reduce the likelihood of, let's say, one more low here and further downside, we want to see a break above the $112,400 level. Yeah. So from that point of view, I think it's just important to understand that we have not confirmed the low yet locally. We haven't even broken resistance. Guys, when we entered this range earlier this week on Tuesday, I mentioned the day after we might spend some time in this range between 100K and 105K. So the week actually has unfolded, you could say, pretty much according to plan. And the parameters for the week that are shared, I think it was on Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, I think it was, they have kind of come, I don't want to say they've come true, but they are being respected, right? So that's important to understand. I'm not impressed by price action on the Bitcoin chart down there, but it's price action that indicates how that the bears and the bulls are fighting clearly. Looking at the shorter time frame, really the short-term chart, you can see that we haven't even managed to break decisively above the upper boundary line of the trend channel. I mentioned yesterday this might even morph into a triangle. I mean, we have to be a bit patient here. As I said, we're just in a range, so no exciting movements on the Bitcoin chart. There are some altcoins that have really shown some interesting movement. Yesterday I covered some of them on YouTube, some of them in our member area. Altcoin was covered in a member video. FET is covered anyway here on YouTube. NEAR was covered. Maybe I'll cover some of these today. Injective was covered anyway. So yeah, I mean, all I want to say here, some altcoins are on the move, yeah, especially in the last 24 hours. Especially ICP is an interesting one. And so yeah, I think we have some movements. Bitcoin just moving sideways, so there's not much going on there. I'll keep you updated. So hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, I invite you to join us on X for additional charts, updates, news, and much more. There are additional video updates. Just make sure that you follow only the More Crypto Online channel with the golden check mark. There are many scammers out there, impersonators. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.